Yeah.
All right, 6:30. We're gonna get started. If you guys don't mind.
Yay, let's go.
All right, welcome in another Friday safety focus of the week. It is Friday the 13th. Hopefully, we're not too into the Friday the 13th, but let's really focus in today. Nothing eerie happens. Um, this week, let's see. Am I sharing my screen? No, not yet.
No, you're not, Matt.
My fault. My fault.
That's okay. I was gonna.
Got distracted. All right, so this week's code of conduct is to strive to maintain a positive and professional image of ECI to our clients, our employees, vendors, subcontractors, and the public. Ben, anything to add?
That's an easy one. If you can maintain your pride in yourself, and we can keep pride in each other and what we do.
Well, excellent job this past week. Able to add another 7 days from our last recordable in first aid. We did have a very, 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 very minor a bumper pushed in on a service truck on Wednesday or Tuesday. So all in all, not too bad. But again, let's just really focus in on the auto accidents. It's been really our most vulnerable and most frequent occurring incident that we're having is vehicle incidents. But again, let's focus in, take it day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, and just baking in safety into your decision making. We have a guest speaker, Beth Schiller. Hopefully, everybody by now has a pretty good idea who Beth is over at Champlain Medical and what she does for the company. But we wanted her to come in just to kind of highlight and educate us in on Triple E as we're starting to really hear it in the news and it's in the pretty much all in the news media out there. So, welcome in, Beth, and take it away.
All right. Thanks for having me. So, just a quick discussion about what we call Triple E, having to do with Eastern equine encephalitis. That's a big term. What I want to talk to you today is briefly what it is, um, what the signs and symptoms are, and what we can do in the workplace to prevent it. So Matt, if you can just hit the what it is. So essentially, Triple E is a virus by way of mosquitoes, and unfortunately, here in the North Country, where we have a lot of moisture and sometimes no wind, and we're in an environment either early morning or early dusk where those mosquitoes come out. These mosquitoes have a virus in them, and when they bite you, there's the potential for this transmission to occur. The issue is if they happen to have this virus, and if you happen to get bit, it can cause some serious central nervous systems decay and or as we're seeing on the news, there have been a few deaths associated with this. Um, Taking a look at signs and symptoms, sometimes there's not a lot going on, but headache, and the big one to look at is that fever, 103 to 106. Maybe back when you were a kid, you were, like in your early years, maybe you had a fever of 103 to 106, but as an adult, it's rare and you're going to know about it if you have a fever like that. And you shouldn't, make sure you do not ignore that should you come down with something. Sometimes sore throat, a stiff neck, and typically those symptoms would show up in 4 to 10 days after you've been bitten. So just kind of keep that in mind. Should you start to feel really ill after you've had a mosquito bite, don't ignore it because it may be, as much as I don't want to say it, it may actually be life-threatening. And in terms of what we can do, I know you guys are all strong and, what's a mosquito bite? No big deal. But think about your environment that you're in. Think about the times of the day that you're working. If you are working, now early morning is somewhere around 6 a.m. It's no longer 5, but 6 a.m. and it's starting to get a little dark by 6:30 in the evening now. And that's where the mosquitoes tend to come out. The other environments that mosquitoes come out is those calm winds, right? If there's wind, it's going to blow those mosquitoes all over the place and probably not onto you. But if you're in that type of environment, think about long sleeves. We're getting into fall anyway, so that's okay. Long pants, socks. They say light colored clothing versus dark, so I'm not so sure that the pink t-shirt is the best. And plus, the pink t-shirt is only short sleeve. So think about a long
This?
sleeve.
It's our
I
Friday.
got
Which
one
one?
on my pink.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got mine on too. So it's probably not the best. They're talking about light. I don't know. The mosquitoes like light, or they like the dark. So a lighter color clothing would be better. And so if all of those things are not avoidable, you may wish to try, on top of the long sleeves, the long pants, the socks, DEET might be, as much as I don't like throwing DEET on my skin, I think it's a valuable thing to do, and it may be something to consider. Other things in terms of prevention is if you're on a job site, eliminating standing water is the most effective way to reduce mosquitoes at the construction site. So, if you've got standing water there, try to figure out a way, whether it's filling a pothole or creating, draining water, whatever the case may be, that's where the mosquitoes can hang out and multiply and then end up on your skin. And pretty much that's all I have to say about it. It's obviously in the news. When we get a few deaths as a result of something like this, it gets a lot of hype. I think thinking about it as being protected, don't get too excited about it. But if you should have any kind of symptoms like that, don't ignore them.
So Beth,
Any questions?
is it somewhat like the tick bites? The ticks need to be embedded for quite a while, actually, before any of that virus is transmitted. Is there just a few moments, or do they really have to suck some blood out of you to get something going?
Well, if they bite you, right, there's the transmission. So my guess is ticks, right? It takes a while for that transmission to occur, right? We talk about with tick bites, if it's been hanging out on you for more than 24 hours. So perhaps the ticks are slower at transmitting bad stuff versus the mosquitoes, which is a pretty quick environment in terms of transmission. So if you get bitten by a mosquito, don't freak out, but stay vigilant with regards to any symptoms that should develop.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions
All
out there?
right.
What's the kind of rule of thumb? An ounce of prevention is equals pounds and
Yeah.
cures or something like that, right? So
Yeah, I mean, if you happen to get bit by one of these, it's like winning the megabucks in reverse. If it happens to have that virus, it can really impact your life. And so, not being quite as macho, and if you're in that type of an environment, using, a bug spray for that brief period of time that you're in that environment would be a smart idea.
And it's good to know the symptoms, to watch for those symptoms, and if it occurs,
Yeah,
then take action.
and it's like a 4 to 10 days, right? You get bit, think about it.
Yep.
And if all of a sudden you're starting to feel ill, don't ignore the symptoms.
Yep.
Seek out medical care.
Yep.
So we have good medical care if we join the wellness program, and we can go to Champlain Medical any day. We can just go over there, right, Beth? I mean, there's
Yep.
quite a few people participating
Absolutely.
now, but man, if you can just join it, it's just so easy to just pop over there and get this stuff checked out. And makes us feel better when we get things looked at as well, right? So just wanted to put a plug in for the wellness. I know
Thanks,
Beth wants
Ben.
that. You want more of us in your waiting room.
Oh, well, exam rooms, we don't like you to have to wait.
Well, we do like going over. I like going over there. It's kind of, it makes always makes us feel better when we can get somebody to give us an opinion on things that are they're not seeming right.
Yep.
So
All right.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
everybody have a great weekend and enjoy the beautiful weather while we have it.
Right, absolutely. Okay. Thank you,
thank you,
Beth.
Beth.
All right.
Right.
Take care.
Well, I'm sharing my screen, I think, right?
You got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So for announcements this week, nothing new. We're still the 304 keys again are still being phased out. I assume that the safety department is still involved and has more to do, but I'm not sure.
That is correct. We got way more to do. We're plugging away
Okay.
at it.
All
There's a
right.
lot-
Then we
a
have
lot of locks out there.
the social media links here, so please check those out. And new employees, none for the week, but we got more for next week, right? I think I
End of
heard
the month. End of the month. Yeah.
end of the month. Okay. All right. And the ECI Primary Care Wellness Program summary here is in a document link, which Beth, of course, is the main part of that program over there. And so I think it just goes along with what we just talked about in the wellness and being aware of things like the EEE. And also based on last week's suicide prevention discussion from Reed Wabi, I realized that I should have the ECI EAP, the Employee Assistance Program, linked on here with a link for the website and for their phone number. So this service is free. And Ben, can you give us a quick update on what kind of benefits there are?
So say that again, Ken. I was trying
Just the
to
benefits. Can you just give us a quick rundown of the benefits of the EAP and how that,
Yeah.
how the process works?
Yeah. So the EAP, I was actually just looking for one of those pamphlets. We have pamphlets that talk
Okay.
about the EAP stuff.
Okay,
I had
I
one on
can
my desk, but
probably-
I gave it out. But I think we should link that too. Those little
Yeah, I
pamphlets are
can
really
get one
handy.
and link the document on here too. Yes.
Yeah. So they have look at that. I just I had one delivered from Jim here. But the EAP is one of the things that they say on their pamphlet, because I love this pamphlet. It's short-term confidential counseling. So any problem that you have or that you can imagine having, whether it's, even a problem at home or a mental problem or anything, when you talk to these EAP people, it's totally confidential. They never, ever tell us any details about what's going on.
Right.
It is totally confidential. And I think that's what a lot of people worry about, since we're promoting it. It's free for all of you that work here and your spouses, your children, anyone that lives in your household can call these people. All you have to do is say, "Hey, I'm an employee of Engineers Construction, and I have an issue." So the issues that we have sent people out for have been some family issues. Sometimes with relationships and other people in their family, they're having a problem or an issue. Childcare. I know that I actually used them a little bit when I was dealing with some elder care issues with my dad. They can help with workplace conflict, people that have depression or anxiety, financial problems. We had one person last year that asked, and I guess he went and got some counseling budgeting at his home, grief and loss, alcohol and drug use. We've got one person that used it, that wanted to use it for some alcohol issues, stress, work-life balance, basically anything that you would need a professional counselor or would like to seek professional counseling for. They do referrals if they think there's a higher level issue that people need. It's free to everyone. There's a toll-free number. I don't know if you have that. You have a
Yeah,
different
it's
one
on
than I
this.
have, but they both work.
Okay.
And also Matt Orzalak, you have a direct line with what's your name? Kathy?
Yes.
Matt sometimes will call Kathy and we'll clue them in, and just to give her a heads up when we refer somebody to them, just so that they kind of know how to direct them, and that they know that yes, this is an employee of VCI and we've got this issue that they need help with. What they do is they have a whole network of counselors. Sometimes you have to leave a message, but they will call you back, I hear. It is okay to leave a message. Those are confidential as well. So I don't know what else to say about it, but
That's good. That's a good rundown.
Yeah.
And we'll take the pamphlet and scan it and make it a document here too. So all this stuff is all related, the wellness and the EAP and a lot of what we're trying to do is just improve our overall health anyway. So we're better, more productive, healthy employees.
Yep.
And they're very
toolbox to solve problems. Yeah. Help solve problems.
They really engage. These people, that's what they do for work. The way we feel about our projects, that's the way they feel about their work. They just want to help people. It's a good group.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. So as I'm scrolling down, I see that I made a mistake here. I had the title from last week's presentation. So just pretend that says Stowe Culvert Replacement on 108. Ben Heath, are you out there?
I am, Ken. I'll take over the screen.
All right, go ahead.
Your project's been changed. Hey, Ken, it's the program. It's not Ken, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, it screwed me up again. Hey, Ben, Heath, just why don't you follow up with the archive afterwards? And it's kind of an interesting photo that links back to our project.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, so do I need to release or you got it?
No, I think I'm good. Everybody can see the screen here?
We got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Ben.
ECI has previously completed 3 storm drain repair projects for Stowe Mountain Resort. There's an existing 48-inch corrugated metal pipe network that has failed due to corrosion. The pipe network collects surface water from all over the resort, and the piping directs the water to the resort's snowmaking pond along the edge of Vermont Route 108. ECI replaced a 300-foot long section of this system during the 2023 season and also abandoned a 500-foot long section of the system using flowable fill as a result of an emergency response due to failure from a storm the week before Christmas in 2023. This project is replacing the section of pipe and the drainage manholes that were abandoned with flowable fill during that event. And we did a Friday morning presentation on that project previously. The goal of this particular project is to leave the abandoned pipe in place and deflect the new pipe out into the travelway of Vermont Route 108 to avoid conflict with existing utilities and the existing abandoned storm drain pipe. VHB prepared a set of design plans for the project, and a VTrans access permit was granted, allowing the private improvements to be installed within the VTrans right-of-way. Jersey barriers were used to close off the northbound lane, and temporary traffic signals were used to control one lane alternating traffic 24 hours per day. The ECI paving team used the BOMAG machine to reclaim the existing asphalt so that excavation could occur daily without having to strip out the 14-inch thick asphalt layer that exists within the roadway, with 0 gravel under it. So real thick layer of asphalt, no gravel. The pipe, especially on a state highway. The pipe and structures have depths that average 15 feet deep throughout the project. Both single and double stack trench boxes were used to shore the excavation and protect the roadway from collapsing while excavating at these depths. An elaborate dewatering system was developed by ECI during previous work events and stayed in place since December of 2023. The dewatering included installing dams within existing drainage structures and coring a new hole in an existing structure to direct all water to the adjacent river and away from our job site. 5 drainage manholes were installed via subcontracted crane service with picks averaging 27,000 pounds. Coordinating the manhole delivery, subcontracted crane service, and excavation prep for the manholes was a challenging part of the project from a management perspective. Several large boulders were found in conflict with the work. ECI mobilized an excavator with a large hammer to remove the boulders, and one of the boulders created 2.5 triaxle loads of crushed rock that were in the way of the work. When I wrote this, the ECI team was projected to wrap up the pipe and structure work this week, which we did, and we're going to continue rebuilding the roadway, and the paving team plans to pave the roadway next week. ECI is now providing a quote for an additional 500 feet of pipe replacement upstream of this work zone, and the resort is hoping that we can get that section replaced prior to ski season. So here's an image of the job site down in the bottom right-hand corner here, and this red hatch is the location of the pipe replacement. As you can see, this is right before the access to the main resort. Here is a site plan view of the improvements in the background here. You can see the existing pipe that's tangled up in all kinds of other utilities. There's sewer force mains, there's water, there's comm, all kinds of stuff over the top of the pipe. And so the goal here was to deflect the pipe out into the road to get away from all of that and bring it back in so it's back in alignment. VTrans was not a fan of this plan. They really didn't want this private improvement in their right of way, but there really wasn't much of a choice from an economic standpoint. Here is an image of us after the bow magging was complete, or at least it was in process, and we're setting up the Jersey barriers to control traffic. Here's an image of us setting the first structure. There were all kinds of utilities, some in conflict with the work that had to be cut out of the way. A number of them were not shown correctly or at all on the plan, so it was really challenging to get this all to work. But the Jerry Lafreniere's crew was successful in getting that all in. Here's an image of Clausen's crane service helping us unload the structures from the camp delivery and setting the structures into place. Really tight, hard to get everything in there. Barely enough room for the outriggers to extend. In some cases, it was challenging to get the geometry to work out for most of these picks. Here's an image of our team setting the risers. As you'll notice, the structures were 8-foot diameter, and the original design included coming all the way to essentially the surface with 8-foot structures. But what they didn't account for in their design was the fact that the road was crowned and that a portion of the structure would inevitably be in the pavement section or worse. So we had suggested that they neck this down on the riser sections to 4-foot diameter structures so that we can have a better cross section there that would work with the roadway geometry. And this is us setting those snorkels, they call them. Here's an image of one of the rocks. This one was not directly in the center of the pipe, but it was in conflict with the pipe and in conflict with the trench box. So that had to get hammered out of the way. And here's an image of the rock. I believe this is the one that produced 2.5 triaxle loads of crushed stone. This was directly in the way of the pipe. And this was I think it was the first rock that we had encountered. So here, this image here shows how tight this whole configuration was. We had the Jersey barriers, touching the yellow line, keeping all traffic off to the side, and trying to do all of our work within this small work zone. And from the opposite direction, here we are installing the 48-inch pipe. One of the things that we did, which you can see from this image, is we backfilled a majority of our backfill with crushed stone, which allowed us to minimize the amount of time that we were in the trench, so we didn't have to use compaction equipment. It allowed us to pull the boxes easier and allowed us to go faster. So instead of just putting in just enough stone to cover the pipe and to provide proper support for the pipe, we came right up to the bottom of the gravel section with the crushed stone, which helped us be successful out there. Another image here showing similar site conditions, tight, deep, and right up against the road. And I believe this is an image of us tidying up one of the dams that we had set previously. I think that that's Jeremy Dean. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, if that's not true. But we had to get down into the structure because during one of the storm events, the boards that we had used to dam up the structure had failed. And which it was never intended to be in place for this long. We told them that this was good for a couple of weeks, and they left it in there since December. So it's not that surprising that we had an issue. It was a miracle that it lasted as long as it did. But we rebuilt it, and we put a separate or a second layer of boards up against the hole, and that worked fine for the whole project. One more image of the pipe work, and here we are getting ready to set another, I think the last structure for the project. So a lot of shoring, a lot of excavating around utilities, and trying to manage all this work that's deep and in a tight location. It was a real challenge, but the crew did a great job. And it was we're ahead of schedule, which is awesome.
Good. Nice job.
Okay. We got a picture here. This must be one of Tommy's.
Yeah.
We've got a picture of Jerry and Nathan. Looks like Nathan's got a bandage there.
Yeah. So he bruised his knee or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He cut his pant leg off.
Yeah.
Looking stylish, Nathan.
Yeah.
So from the photo archives, Ken, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, sure. This is the same NPK hammer, the GH10 that you see in the photo above. And
Yep.
this was when it was brand new, just installed on an excavator at ECI shop back in May of 2012. I just happened to come across it. I was like, okay, I need to find a photo, an archive photo at last night as I was pulling this stuff together. And I happened to open up my photos of 2012 and the color orange popped out at me. And I looked at it. I'm like, wow, that's not the same hammer, is it? That's too bad. And then I looked at it more and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that's the same hammer. The
Yeah.
exact same one.
It's pretty nice
some-
there.
It's amazing. They don't look new for long. So, all right, we'll turn it back over to Matt to close out the meeting.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining in. If you're watching a group setting, please send over attendance so we can capture that. Let's enjoy the beautiful day. Let's work safe. Let's be productive and let's solve problems together.
Right.
Stay safe.
Okay. Have a good one.
Later, everybody.